Hey everybody, it's Krista. So I want to show you one of our favorite things to do in the fall. But honestly, this is so good that you could do this year round. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 1 can of pumpkin. And remember, this is 100% pure pumpkin. When you look at the ingredients, it's just pumpkin. This is not pumpkin pie filling. So we're going to take 1 can of pumpkin and we're going to make a double batch of the Harvest pumpkin bars. Then what's left, we're going to turn into the Pumpkin Tiramisu Overnight Oats. So these pumpkin bars, so they're in the cookbook and on the website. These pumpkin bars are one of our favorite desserts and sweet treats. This is actually our daughter's absolute favorite sweet treat. And the reason I love it so much is because it is crazy easy to put together. So all you have to do is throw everything in the Ninja or your food processor. So there's almond butter, there's 1 cup. Now keep in mind, the recipe is for an 8x8. And I am here to tell you, you are not going to regret doubling it and putting it in a 9x13 pan. But everything goes in the Ninja or your food processor. So we've got a cup of almond butter and 1 cup out of the can of pumpkin. And then you've got maple syrup, some cinnamon, nutmeg, baking soda, and some coconut pecans. You're going to throw everything in the Ninja. You might have to kind of scrape down the sides a couple of times and then get it until it's completely blended like the smoothest brownie batter. Then you're going to throw in some dark chocolate chips and just pulse it a few times just so they kind of get chopped up in there. And then you're just going to spread it into a greased glass 9x13 baking dish and bake it for, in our oven, 27 minutes is ideal at 350 degrees. You don't want to over bake it. So if you're doubling it, then I would say start at about 27 to 28 minutes. And so while that is in the oven, we are going to take the rest of our can of pumpkin and we're going to turn it into the Pumpkin Tiramisu Overnight Oats. And we're going to do enough for 2 servings. And so you could either put them in covered containers. I love using mason jars. So our overnight oats formula is pretty much half a cup of oats, half a cup of yogurt, half a cup of milk. So that's kind of the basic formula. And then you can go from there on all your different flavor combos. But this Pumpkin Tiramisu Overnight Oats has a few other ingredients. And one of the things that Scott and I love to do is instead of using half a cup all old-fashioned rolled oats, we like to use 1/4 cup of rolled oats and 1/4 cup of steel cut oats because it gives it a nice chewier texture. So that is what it's in the bowl. Then we're going to add half a cup. This is just plain Greek yogurt. And then we're going to add, now for this recipe, because we're going for a tiramisu flair, this is 1/4 cup of unsweetened almond milk. And then I'm actually also going to use 1/4 cup of some cooled coffee. So if you don't like the idea of the coffee, then go ahead and just add the half a cup of milk. Then we're going to add a couple tablespoons of chopped pecans. And then we have got, this is about 2 tablespoons of almond butter. And then 1.5 tablespoons of maple syrup. We've got a tablespoon of dark chocolate chips and some pumpkin pie spice. And then what was left in our can of pumpkin, we're going to dump all that in and then stir it up until everything is well combined. Now this literally can be done about 10 minutes in the evening. And remember, with overnight oats, you're not cooking the oats. You're just going to eat the oats straight out of the refrigerator in the morning, or you could let it come to room temperature. But then what we're going to do is we are going to divide this up into 2 containers and trying to keep it as equal as possible. So we just did a demo with these overnight oats and I look up and there was one girl that was sampling it. She was licking her sample cup clean. She said, "That's so good. That doesn't even necessarily need to be breakfast." So I kind of made a mess. You get the picture. So once you get it divided into 2 containers, the last thing that you can do is take some cacao nibs. And so remember, these are just straight cacao. They add a perfect little chocolate flavor crunch on top. And then I would just cover these and stick them in the fridge. And then the next morning, you're ready to grab a spoon, got your oatmeal, and you can be out the door. Now, the Harvest pumpkin bars have been in the oven for 27 minutes. Oh, they smell amazing. And so here's always my test, is to take a toothpick and it comes out clean, just like you're cooking brownies. And then another thing that I think this was a trick from my grandma. Once they are cooled, then you can take a plastic knife and you can cut them. When you cut them with a plastic knife, they don't, rip and fall apart. And this would go even smoother if they were a little bit more cooled. So that is the best trick with the cutting of the pumpkin bars. This is another beautiful thing about these pumpkin bars. They freeze great. So keeping half this batch in the freezer to pull out whenever you need them, or make them ahead for gatherings with friends and family. I don't think you're going to regret it, but you're going to have to let us know if you love them as much as we do. See you soon.